everyone. Good Tuesday morning. Thanks so much for joining us here in our WSAZ Plus studios. I certainly appreciate you taking some time out of your morning to go ahead and recap some of the big stories that we have been following over the last 24 hours, as well as the stories that we're looking ahead. Plus, we're going to get a check on that forecast as we plan our week. We do know Dylan Godet stamped today as a go day, so that is a positive thing and something to really look forward to, maybe even take advantage on your lunch break. So we're going to check in with him in just a few moments. But first, we're going to go ahead and visit some of the big headlines. Yesterday morning, when I joined you here on WSAZ Plus, we were talking a little bit about the search for a new superintendent for Cabell County Schools. And let's go ahead and pull up some video of that. So this is Tim Hardesty. He is right now the current superintendent of Cabell County Schools, but he announced that he is planning to retire in July. So the school board's now looking for candidates. They had a meeting yesterday for Cabell County School District, and the board president, Josh Pauley, says, right now we are meeting and we're looking for a new superintendent for the district, but they're really trying to get an internal candidate. So they're looking for somebody who can really kind of seamlessly step right into that role, Pauley said, and hit the ground running on July 1st. So they are accepting candidate submissions until February 29th, and that's just at the end of the month. February 28th, that should say, because there's not a 29th of the February, huh? So that should say February 28th, if you'll excuse me. And so the plans to review the candidates are at the next Board of Education meeting, and that is set to happen on March 3rd. So really about 2 more weeks. 2 weeks from today, they'll be meeting again to review all of those candidates that they've had. Another big story that we are following this morning, and you have to think about, it just feels like right now it's like the weather isn't a big talker, but we've had so many issues with schools just trying to get creative due to the amount of, days that they've had to miss because of weather. And that has really been a big factor for a lot of them. And so you may know non-traditional instruction days, sometimes they're referred to as NTI days. Those districts that are able to use them have to get a little creative sometimes because they get a certain amount that they're only allowed to use. In one school district in particular, Carter County Schools, this is video from Rockcastle County Board of Ed, but, Carter County Schools, they have really had to get creative over the last couple of weeks. Winter weather was such a huge factor in their district. They missed 23 days, according to the Board of Education. They held their meeting last night. And so we've seen districts have to get creative over the last couple of weeks, try to use as much days, but we know the weather can really put a hindrance on things. And so they ended up last night at the Board of Education in Carter County approving to add 20 minutes to the end of the school day. So this helps districts not necessarily go all the way into summer or after Memorial Day. Their projected last day of school is now going to be May 29th. So they had to make a few adjustments to their calendar as far as just trying to get the school days in because they haven't had the chance to. And so that's something that they've really had to kind of work around. And so we've started to see a lot of school districts like Carter County get very creative. And there is now a bill that Kentucky lawmakers are considering that they say, hey, we're going to have to get creative. We're going to have to look at things. How can we do things differently to make sure that students are still getting the instructional time that they need? But we know that weather events like that happen. We know that we're not out of the thick of it. Think about springtime around here in our region. We typically see some high water events. We've known that schools have had to cancel for, maybe because of a mudslide in the area. That has certainly all been a factor in the past. And so they say Kentucky code only gives right now districts 10 NTI days. If they go over that, they've got to make adjustments to their school schedule. So some lawmakers are considering to expand the non-traditional instruction days. Carter County is just one district across the state that has used them, but there are many more who say, we're out of luck. We haven't had any. And so really, it's House Bill 631, which is going to include a little provision for the Commissioner of Education to provide up to 10 disaster relief attendance days. So this kind of gives them a little bit more leeway on what things look like right now. And then if they aren't able to provide their set instruction time, right now it's 1,062 hours. By June 10th, they can request a waiver for 5 NTI days to be counted. So, it's a little complex if you're not familiar with the school days and how it works in Kentucky. But the big deal and the big goal here is really to make it easier on districts, make it a little bit easier as they have to get creative, make sure that students are still learning and getting an education, even when weather, outside factors contribute to making that school day a little bit difficult. And so we are going to have to see how that plays out. Right now, it's still early on in the session in the General Assembly for Kentucky lawmakers. So whether it gets enough movement, we'll have to see. But we do know there are several school districts across the region in Kentucky that are really pushing for it and saying, hey, you know what, we need a little bit of extra help. So that is one way that they are trying to do that. Some other stories that we are following, and a lot of them pertain to education this morning. We've had several school board meetings over the last couple of days, so I want to give you a recap and catch you up on those. Hurricane Middle is really a big one as well. So if you're not familiar, Hurricane Middle School, they are going to build a new middle school for students in that area. And so let's go. There we go. Sorry, I lost my button there. Sometimes when I'm talking, I can't do it all at once, right? Everybody knows how that goes sometimes. So as far as Hurricane Middle, the Board of Education, last night giving an update from the architects who are working on the plans, and they're saying the Deputy Superintendent, Bruce McGrew, says that traffic study is nearly done for the new middle school. So you may notice the location. It's going to sit adjacent to where the high school is at. So if you've ever driven through that area, traffic can be a massive undertaking, and it's very, very busy. So the board's going to review some plans from the architecture company, but McGrew says that traffic study, it could play a factor when they get it back. They may have to change some details when you're talking about the outside of the building. So there's a lot of pre-planning that's involved. This video is showing kind of where that location is. You can see in the background of this clip right there, that's actually the high school right there. So, design and development, they're going to be sent to the School Building Authority for approval later this month. Although Putnam County School Board's still waiting on that traffic study, and they're going to do that before any changes are made to accommodate parking and heavy traffic. That road in particular, really, really, really busy, especially in the afternoon. When you do have that school time traffic, that's an area that sees a lot of traffic no matter the time of day, but really around those school dismissal hours and just school drop-off hours, it can get really hectic. So that is certainly something that they're going to have to consider as well. Let's go ahead and get a check on that forecast, though, for people who are planning their day. Maybe you're trying to get and take advantage of the lunch break today. Let's go ahead and check in with Dylan and see what we're looking like.
Good morning, everyone. First Alert Meteorologist Dylan Goday here with a breakdown of your forecast for your Tuesday. Hey, today is going to be a nice day. It is a little frosty still in spots this morning and foggy, but as the sun continues to come up, we're going to end up with a nice weather day. Spring-like temperatures today, really through Friday, before more of a return to winter by Sunday. We do have one first alert weather day on the board. That's for Friday because of gusty winds. For all the areas, strongest winds do look to be to our north and our west. Some power flickers could be possible. These winds going to help usher in some cooler air, though. Looking at futurecast throughout the day today, pushing the 50s by lunchtime, upper 50s into the low to maybe mid 60s by later this afternoon. Yes, there will be some cloud cover around, but temperatures are still going to warm up. Less in terms of any fog tonight, less in terms of any temperature drop either, and we'll see a couple rain showers moving through during the midday and potentially into the afternoon hours to our east there on Wednesday. But Wednesday night into Thursday, things look to calm down. Then we'll be tracking a system getting ready to push into the area on Thursday. And we've been talking about that. As this warm front lifts to the north, we'll see some showers, maybe some rumbles of thunder along that warm front. But here really from Lexington, Cincinnati, northward into Illinois, we will see the risk of some stronger storms. So generally this area here where we're watching for that stronger storm potential. We will then see some development maybe into almost a squall line of showers and some storms that will be racing east overnight into early Friday morning. That could give us some gusty winds here locally, but that's to the east on Friday, and then we just talk about the wind gusts. So areas we're watching: Huntington, Louisa, up towards, say, the Gallipolis area westward. That's where we have a low wind or marginal risk for strong to severe storms, and then that risk increases from Lexington, Cincinnati, north and westward. That's where we have the higher risk of seeing severe weather on Thursday. We're here locally, it's a low wind risk at best. Stronger wind gusts looking likely on Friday afternoon as well, but notice how those winds are stronger as you head towards northwest Ohio up into Indiana. Now, some big time question marks around Saturday. This is the European model, which is showing a system pushing off towards the east, and we don't really get much development here off the coastline until Sunday with a potential coastal low, and then we see northwesterly winds here, maybe bringing us some light snow late Sunday and into Monday. America model, a completely different look. This is 8 a.m. on Saturday, where you get this stronger system pushing across the central U.S., bringing that snow chance into our area after a little bit of a mix on the front side of that before a nor'easter forms and brings some heavy snow to New England. So big question marks around the end of the weekend. You're going to be seeing some crazy maps likely floating around social media. Still 5 days plus out. So again, until we're within that 5-day time frame, shouldn't be worried too much about that, but that is certainly something we'll keep our eye on. Stay with the WSAZ First Alert Weather Team for more updates.
All right, you heard Dylan's forecast there. Certainly Saturday, a couple of question marks. Maybe your plans may have to be altered. They're still trying to time out that storm that we could see. But if you are trying to take advantage, I know I am. I even brought my tennis shoes. I was hoping to get a walk-in during my lunch break. Today is a great day to get outside. Dylan mentioned he's calling it a go day, which is a good sign in our book. So those temperatures nearing about 60 degrees for most of the region. And so that's certainly something to enjoy. It's nice to see that we're kind of starting to feel like we're getting out of that heavy winter weather pattern. You may be able to ditch that jacket that you probably wore into work this morning for the afternoon, which would certainly be a nice little treat for a lot of us. We might as well take advantage of it. I will tell you, the good sign I saw, I plant tulips in my garden every year in my flower beds, and so I actually started to see a couple of just little buds starting to poke through. And so that is certainly a good sign that spring is near and around the corner. I'll take the spring-like temperatures that we have this week. Certainly a nice treat for a lot of us, as we are going to enjoy those 60s while we have them, because if you've heard our weather team mention, our meteorologist mention, next week may be a different picture for a while. We may be back into the swing of winter in full force, just with those temperatures being a little bit chillier than normal. So, we'll have to check back in as they are kind of tracking. But again, they say, hey, take advantage of those warmer temperatures that we are seeing this week. And so before I let you go, I do want to give you an update, because we actually just got word of it this morning. Just about 10 minutes ago, I found out about this. And so let me go ahead and pull up some videos so we can all talk about it. Here we go. So this is over in Meigs County, Ohio. That's where first responders are still searching for the body that is missing of a driver who plunged into the icy Ohio River. The crash happening last Tuesday. And in that crash, we do know that there was a driver and then there was a small child who actually was rescued by firefighters through the rear windshield. They went out on that icy Ohio River, pulled the child, and just as they were pulling it, the firefighter actually threw the child to the bank because the ice was breaking beneath him. And so we do know that child was saved, but unfortunately there was another person in the car that they were not able to save. And so the victim's body is still missing. We do know that first responders have been out there since last Tuesday trying to search. They ended up recovering the vehicle that had plunged into the Ohio River. But Today, crews are now using a helicopter in the Pomeroy and Meigs County, Ohio area. Mason County Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Management telling us if you do notice a helicopter flying in pretty low in that area near the Ohio River Valley, that's what they're doing. They are now bringing in additional resources to help locate and recover the victim's body. We know that those icy temperatures were so intense last week when we had pretty cold ones. And so as they are searching for the victim's body, they're trying to kind of get a little creative in this sense. They're trying to use different technology, different resources to help locate the victim's body. And so that is another story that we are following this morning. Like I said, we just got word of it about 10 minutes ago. So if you are in that area, and you do see a helicopter flying low, that's why they are trying to help locate that victim's body. So I certainly appreciate you joining me here for WSAZ Plus, getting a look at some of our morning headlines and the stories that we are following today. One more thing before I let you go, and I just thought about this. Today, they are hosting a ribbon cutting for a new ACP Technologies and Exxon facility. That ribbon cutting is going to be happening at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and it is a new lithium-ion battery facility. They're going to produce new material for that. In this facility opening up in Ashland, Kentucky, it'll be located along Kevin Avenue, and we are expecting Congressman Hal Rogers to be there today. So that will be another story that we are going to get some updates on this afternoon. So I do appreciate you joining me here. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday. Enjoy that lunch break if you're able to get out and about, or maybe after work you can even take advantage of it. It's nice to see that the sun is setting a little bit later now. I used to have to drive home in the dark, and now I get about 10 minutes before the rest of my drive home isn't dark. So, it's nice, though, to see that spring is nearing. It's around the corner. And so take advantage of those temperatures. I hope you guys have a great Tuesday.